Joining us, Second Ward Councilman Phil Garcia. How you doing, Phil?
Trying to stay warm there, Pat. Boy, it's been brutal.
It is terrible outside. When I went out this morning, I don't know why, but it seemed like it hit me harder today than it has in the past. And you could hear the crackling of the snow and the ice. And
yeah, this is January weather, not February.
Wow. I know. And you know what? And there's nothing we can do about it city-wise, but the streets are taking a beating from this. They're getting potholes are jumping up.
Yeah, well, it's one thing. I talked to John Williams yesterday. They finally got the cold patch. They couldn't get cold patch for a while because it was all frozen at Koski. So yesterday they were out patching the potholes. So
were they?
Yeah, there was a couple bad ones, but there was nothing they could do about it because they had no cold patch because they couldn't get it out of the thing. So they were out yesterday doing some cold patch, and then you look at Route 20 out there on.
Oh boy!
But But they were saying that the salt gets down into the cracks, and we're not scheduled until 2018 to get that Route 20. And when they do it, they're going to rip the whole thing up because they got to pull a new base on everything else. But we are planning on temporary fixing that once the weather breaks. But we got to do that.
You know, Phil, I haven't said this to anybody, but I know you would follow up on it. That down on Lake Road, where they put the road cuts in for the new housing on the golf course.
Yes.
There's a couple bad areas there where they fixed it, but apparently
it
went down.
Yeah, that's one of those cut things. That's probably one of their priorities once the weather breaks.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but sometimes you have to wait till it settles, and if they get it too quick, then you have that problem.
Yep.
So I'm sure they'll address that problem once the weather breaks, but it may be a while.
I watched on the Cleveland News last night. They had a special report. I mean, Cleveland's really in bad shape with potholes, and I guess there's people going left and right with flat tires and their cars going out of line because of the potholes up there. And they actually showed one of the roads. It was worse than any of ours here.
Yes.
But there were cars going like this, trying to get around them, and that's part of the process with this kind of weather. And then when it warms up, it gets crazy.
Yeah, it's going to get crazy, but. So far, I would say the roads are in pretty good shape. They'll be on top of it. The street department's done a very good job.
Right.
Being on top of the snow plowing, and
they have done a good job.
Yeah, they've done a very good job. That when the snow comes out, and it's a tough situation with only they have 9 or 10 workers down there, and they just got 2 new trucks down there, so that's good.
Good.
And then the police department got that front end loader that's stored down at the Public Works Department, which could probably be used by them too. But that should be another piece of equipment to add on to our.
Phil, one of the big stories, of course, that you've been involved in as councilman, the city manager search, and it appears that there's going to be a couple more interviews processed before a decision is made, which I think Nick Church has said that he'd like to see something done sometime in March.
Yes, yeah, it's a slow process, but I would say the process we're going through is a very good process. Holly Marinick from Infinity Research has done a very good job of checking the candidates, their qualifications, their college degrees. You want to get it right. You don't want to get somebody in and then all of a sudden they don't have the degree or the qualifications. The references and things like that. And the 3 candidates we have interviews for have been very good candidates. It's very time-consuming, but she's done a very good job. The questions we ask are the same for each candidate. It's not like we're asking different. And we've split up the groups: economic development, grants, and labor relations.
Okay. And, how long do these interviews usually last? Hours, 2, or?
Well, each group, there's 3 groups, and we're in there for 45 minutes each. For each, so I'm in there for 45 with Nick and John Roach, and then John Arcaro and John Kozeski's in with another group, and Debbie Newcomb and Doug Hedrick for another group. So it's 45 minutes for each time, and then at the end we go into council chambers and have an open session. We ask the same questions again to the candidate. We're all there talking, and any other questions we may have. So it's a process for the person coming in, and it's a very good process, and we check our notes and stuff like that. So the process is very, very good, very thorough, and that's why I like. It's going to take some time, but it's very thorough what she's done, and you know, the background checks, the references checks, and the schooling and all that. So, you know, you want to get the best possible candidate you have out there, and go from there.
I noticed that they did announce. I mean, they weren't announcing any of the names lately, but they did say that the one candidate from Geneva on the Lake, I think he's the only Ashtabula County candidate that's on the list.
Right.
And I thought that was good. I mean, it kind of gives a little local flavor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What I'm looking for, and I think we're all looking for, somebody who, you know, is energetic, gonna be in with the community, gonna stick around. You know, and it's, you know, we're not, you know, it's a $70,000 to $75,000 paid job, so, you know, you're kind of limited on the candidates sometimes because, you know, and I'm not criticizing who we had before, what we didn't have before, but sometimes you know, do we get a brand new one where it's a stepping stone, or do you get one that's, you know, ready at the end or in the middle? You know, get some type of commitment. So you know,
and we've had both
you know,
those.
Both those. And then again, you don't know, things change sometimes too with candidates. You know, they think it's going to be a good fit, things are going good, and then all of a sudden something changes.
Right.
And, you know, it's a never exact science.
Do you think that you get good candidates when you have a city like ours? Of course, most cities are in a financial situation, maybe not as bad as ours, but do you think it's hard to get a candidate to come in and handle that situation? I wouldn't want any part of it, to be honest with you.
Well, you look at the pluses of the city of Conneaut. You know, we've got good people to work with. It's a nice community. You're coming into a situation. You've got John Williams up there. You got Carly Prather up there.
Right.
You know, you've got good department heads, good employees. You know, that I think that's, you know, you look at that. There's a lot of positives. Yeah, sure, the money issues is a problem, but I think working with the people we have here, and it's a nice community. You know, there's potential.
Do you, as a council person or a member of council, do you have to pitch Conneaut? Is that part of your job too?
A little bit, but most of them were very, you know, we're very complimentary of Conneaut. You know, nice downtown, nice harbor district.
Right.
The lake is, you know, is selling point,
right.
And you know, the land and stuff like that. But no, they're all impressed with the city of Conneaut.
Yeah.
You know,
they probably do their homework.
Well, they do their homework. Oh yeah, you expect them to do that because
you want
them to. You know, so that, you know, you'd be surprised. You know, what they know, what's going on, and see what's going on. So that, I think they've been through the interview process before because most of them have gone to different things. So.
Interesting stuff. Yeah. I'm hoping that we get somebody in place pretty soon. I'm very impressed with John Williams.
Oh yeah.
And what he has done as a fill-in.
Yeah, you know, he's just. It seems like nothing bothers him.
No.
Goes on with his job, and you know, it also makes a difference when you have people in place that, you know, run their departments, and you have good city employees that do the job,
sure.
and the city can run. You know, but you know, it's tough on John. There's no question about that. But you've got good people up there that do the job, and you know, it's very rewarding for that. I give kudos to the city employees.
Yeah, and that also speaks highly for John's department because he does have good employees working for him that carry the ball.
Yeah.
While he's trying to do both jobs.
Yeah, that's right. And then you got the people in the water department, the wastewater, the public works, fire, police, everybody. So if everybody pitches in, does their due diligence, hey, we're on a roll.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, I noticed that, and I'm very, very excited about this actually. I thought I had it here, but I don't know where I put it. That new sign thing that's coming up. There's a name for it. Waste.
Yeah.
I had it on a piece of paper.
And the signage were. Yes.
I think that's a good thing.
Oh yes.
I think that's going to be very, very good for tourism and also for our own sake out there.
Right, for the businesses. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about that. You know, with the the limited company was supposed to start the lighting project on Route 7. But I think it's too cold yet.
Right.
And Under Ridge and Middle Road, you know, I got to thank, you know, John and Carol for pushing that on the Love's Truck Stop. He got it all designed and stuff like that. He pushed for it, and then I was pushing for some lights out on the southern roads at intersections. So we have a light at the Middle Road and Under Ridge. Middle Road and Under Ridge and South Ridge and Under Ridge.
Right.
So we have at the corner, at the intersections, and
much needed,
and hopefully next year we get 2 more. It's like taking a step. We can't do everything at once. It's like we hire another police officer, put another person in public works, and you know, you only got X amount of dollars, and you don't want to spend it all in one shot. So let's do a little bit at a time.
Right.
And you know, that should help out there at Love's, because that's dark out there.
It very-
and the whole intersection is dark out there. And
A lot of
that's-
accidents too.
Yeah, and the whole intersection, and you know, we're still pushing ODOT to put some lights out there, but that's, you know,
I know.
it's like, you know, whatever we're gonna have. So we're gonna, you know, keep on pushing, but that's you know, it's a positive thing out there where people are gonna come into Conneaut now. It'll be a little bit more lighted out there, and it'll help Love's out a little bit, and you know, even the beef and beer out there is a little bit more lighting out there too. So.
And what Phil and I were talking basically about too is these signs that we're going to put up by the city, which the city gave $2,500. They
Yes.
donated Monday night to this project that the Port Authority, the Conneaut Port Authority, is going to give $9,000. It will match up to $9,000 for any money that is raised for these signs. And they're going to be put at different locales to tell you where Township Park's at, where eating places are at, that sort of stuff. And you know, like say you're going to have one on Chestnut Street in Lake Road. The sign will be there. Then there's going to be another one at Lake Road and Broad Street.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you come up to that traffic light there on Broad Street, you'll see where you can go to find the lake, where you can go probably to find bait shops and Biscotti's restaurant. I mean, I think it's a really, really good idea.
I was even talking to Joe Raisin. I said, "Well, when are we going to get our arch in like they have on a Geneva on the lake?" You know, which would be not. It's very fashionable. It costs money, but you take a little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But the sign, you know, and you got to thank Connie Naylor and the tourism board for doing a lot of that stuff too. That's a big plus that we're going to have. So that's the more you can do to tell people what we have in town.
I don't know if you remember, and a lot of times, years and years ago, the tourism board was just the tourism board. It wasn't as proactive as this group is. This group works very hard.
Oh yes,
and they've done a lot of good work for our community, and it's come back to recognize Connie and her staff and her board for what they've done with the signage thing alone. They have worked so hard behind the scenes, years, to actually get that to happen,
Yeah.
and it finally did.
Right.
So they're doing a tremendous job. There's a lot of pluses here, Phil.
Oh yeah, that's another thing when you're looking at and I think the city managers, they're looking at the pluses we have in Conneaut, and there are a lot of pluses, and if you think about the pluses, you're going to move ahead.
Right.
And yeah, sure, there is a perfect no, but let's be positive what we have in the city of Conneaut, and that's how you get to people here.
Yeah. I noticed that during John Williams's report the other night that the salt, I think they've gone their limit in.
Yeah, we had to buy some more, and it's just it's the supply and demand. They must know something when the bad winters come along, because everybody's paying. And I was just reading in the paper, a lot of other communities are getting that, and we're trying to use it the best we can. Not overuse it, but we can't underuse it either. We got to make sure the streets are safe, and like I said, anytime you're dealing with the snow plowing, anything like that, there's maybe some issues, but I think for the most part, I haven't had it really. I think there one snowfall, I think either they called people out too late, or the snow came too fast, and I had a couple issues with it, but it was taken care of, and for the most part. And I think on the weekends it's really kind of tough. How many people do you call out to get all the snow cleared? Do you got to worry about your salt budget, your other budget, but you want to make sure the safety of the citizens, and Randy does a good job of that, and then the employees of the street department, they also, and the police department will also tell you, hey, we better get some trucks out here.
The only complaint that I would register, and I've said this before, I'm not afraid to say it again, the only time that I think there was a mix-up was when we had a thaw. This goes back several weeks ago, 6, maybe 8 weeks ago.
They didn't come down.
They didn't come out. It was on a Sunday or something.
Yeah. So
that should have been.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't have had the ruts.
Right.
So
and that's what causes. And so so you got to kind of pick and choose. And I don't know what maybe next time they'll get it out there in time.
Right.
The weather changes. So it's not an exact science. And while I was watching the weather report, so there were some things in that you try to get that. And I think it was last Sunday that snowed, and then they came out Monday and cleared everything out again. But they tried to get it's when you get those ruts in that's really tough.
Oh, it's tough to drive on.
Tough to drive on.
Hey, speaking of that, when we do get a thaw, then we have to worry about the damage that that can do.
Right.
Specifically, we have Bill Taylor coming in from CLYO today. Um, that field down there, those fields took a beating last year. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again this year, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, especially if you get that big thaw and it rains on top of it.
Yeah.
And then the ice jams and
Yeah.
things like that. Because this snow's been on the ground. It hasn't thawed at all this year. Just
No, it started in November. It started early. We mentioned earlier, if you missed the earlier portion of this interview, about 20 minutes ago, we mentioned that the city council is interviewing for a city manager. And it appears that we possibly could have one in March, which is just Sunday away. That's when the 1st of March is. And is that what your understanding is, Phil?
yes, that's what it looks like. Like I said, if everything goes right, we're looking at a couple more candidates. We want to go over and make sure we have, right now we had 3. We're looking maybe 1 or 2 more candidates to go.
So you've interviewed 3?
Yes.
And wasn't there a list of 10 that were submitted? Is that how that went? I'm a little vague.
Well, originally there was 40 applicants, and then it was whittled down to 7, and then down to 3.
Okay.
Then I don't know if all 40 were qualified.
Right.
That's one thing when we went to Infinite Resources. They checked their schooling out, their education, their public service, and their whatever like that. And like I said at the beginning of the show, they've done a very good job of steering us in the right direction.
Now, Phil, it might have been Debbie Newcomb, that said, I believe it was her, I don't hold me on that, but I think that she had told me there was a consideration of maybe looking back at the requirements that the Charter Commission put in place for a city manager. They're pretty strict.
Yeah, I've questioned that too.
Yeah.
I think they're very rigid. I think we could relax those, but then that has to go before the voters.
The voters, right. Anything that you change in the charter has to go before the vote.
Yeah. So I'm not. But we can't do anything now. Here's our guidelines we have to use, and we'll make sure we use them because we don't want to get caught. And that's one thing when you do these things, you got to make sure that you're all correct. And then they're under specific instructions is make sure that all these qualifications are met because I don't know, was it the time before when they interviewed some of these people, they didn't have the qualifications.
Right.
So and they would waste the candidate's time and our time. So
Well, you made an interesting comment earlier that you have to look at these pretty rigid yourself because you got to look at the guy that might want to come here for 2 years and then go up the ladder,
right?
Or the guy that's on the end of his career and is just kind of coasting to get to his retirement. There's a lot of things to look at.
A lot of things, yeah. You look at, you got to find a fine balance, and I like Mr. Eggleston because he was out in the community, and
I like him.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not, everybody has their own management style, and we want to make sure they're good management and stuff and handle things. Be able to work with other communities. I was just talking to John Williams yesterday that the CHIP grant and we just made an agreement. We're coming Monday to council with the CHIP grant with Geneva. We're going to combine to get the money for that. And that's what you got to do, work with other communities. And you look what they did. They got that front end loader for the police department. That's another good thing. And we had to go out and get it, paid, I don't know, $2,500 or $3,000 to pick it up. But that piece of equipment is probably worth $30,000-$40,000. And you got to look at those things. And then you got to look. And I'm looking for a city manager that can write grants and get grants. I mean, that's anytime there's free money out there, there's nothing free, but you can get it.
Right.
I think not that
you know how to go about
getting it. Yeah, you got to be very. They're very specific on stuff like that. I know the fire department did a nice job. They got some grants for some of their equipment down there. So, the more things you can get from the government because they certainly take it from us.
A big project coming up this spring that'll go through most of this year is the Amboy Bridge.
Oh, yes.
Work.
Yeah.
And which is just on the road from where you live.
Yes.
But John Patterson's emailed me $13.5 million project that I believe the state's picking up the tab on.
Yes, I think it is. Yes.
What's your thoughts about the detours and all that sort of stuff that's going to be put in place with the safety of the people out there and also businesses?
Yeah. Well, my first concern was the safety of the people. You know, there's gonna, you know, we have to make some ambulance runs. You know, go across that bridge, especially North Kingsville coming to Conneaut. And I want to make sure they have good signage up for the local businesses. And from my understanding, they're going to.
Okay.
You know, I know when Geneva on the Lake was closed, they made some good signage and stuff like that. And because, you know, you can put that road closed sign up there, Route 7 and Route 20. Well, people don't know how long 6 miles is or 8 miles is.
Right.
You know, geez, you know, how far is the stadium from here? How long is the hospital from here? The ACMC, the Dairy Queen, Save a Lot,
Right.
the Amboy Mini Mart. So I want to make sure there's signs saying businesses are open till Amboy Road. I guess they're going to put alternate 20 local only. I think they're going to do that.
I guess there's some, according to John Patterson, they're going to have some public hearings
Yes.
coming up that'll get us more.
More information, yeah, and make sure that, and if there isn't enough, then we're gonna, you know, keep on, get on them, you know. I
think, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think Creek Road is one detour, and I think the other one would be Lake Road.
yeah,
I think.
yeah, right. But that's just only local that they'll make all their signs. You go up Amboy Road to Creek Road to Reed Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reed Road and stuff like that. So.
Let's take this call, Phil. Hi, you're on the air.
Yeah, Pat.
Yeah.
Hey, hello, Phil. This is Benny Sark.
Yes.
This is a little bit out of your area, but I was wondering, as far as like tie-ins. Well, part of this is your area. The new sewer line across the Chestnut Street Gorge there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
When are the people that did the tie-ins going to come back and be held accountable for the dips in the road where their tie-ins are? And down the street from that, who's going to hold Vinnie Rose accountable for all the blowing tires and stuff from his potholes there?
Yeah, we talked about that, Benny, probably about a half hour ago. That's a good
I'm sorry,
point.
I didn't hear it.
No, that's okay. It's a good point because I hit the one on Lake Road near one of the homes the other day, not paying attention. I was going too fast too, and man, it was bad. I mean, it really it has dropped down. And what Phil said earlier, because of the weather and stuff, they do drop down. And he said he's sure that the city or somebody's going to have to get that straightened around this spring when the weather gets better.
The contractor should be putting cold patch in there now.
That one, and Phil said that the cold patch just started again.
Yeah, just started again. They couldn't get it unfrozen, Benny. Then so I know I talked to John Williams yesterday, and they were out patching what they could. So I will mention that to them about those dips and see what they can do.
I got a nephew whose car is parked in his driveway because his tire is blown out from hitting one of the.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Who does he call?
You know, what he could do, and I know a lot of people have done this. I don't know how far it goes, but you could make a report with the city manager's office, and they can look into it for you. I don't know what they would do, but certainly wouldn't hurt to make sure they are aware of that. That's not good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the contractors that did the tie-ins should be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of tie-ins when I was plumbing,
Mm-hmm.
and never ever had a problem like that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
They just don't patch them right when they tie them in. You know, they don't tamp the dirt down and stuff before they fill it.
Definitely a problem. It definitely is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll look into that. I'll talk to John Williams and leave him a message. Or I'm going to stop down and see Randy Luce anyway and see what the progress is on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Benny.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye. Hey, when you talk to Randy, ask him if we can get together and have him come on the show. I'd like to introduce him to the audience here.
Okay.
I haven't done that.
Okay.
The other thing, of course, is the tourism center, Phil.
Yes.
I know you were very passionate about seeing that reopened, and it did reopen, I think, on a temporary basis.
Yeah, well, that's another subject that the lady who was in charge of that now was supposed to come up and meet us, and that's on my to-do list. And she was come up last year to look
Never
at
did.
it. Never did. And so that it may be another parade out there again this year, but it's a crime. You know, you talk about this governor who, you know, all this and all that. They forget about, you know, the tourism, what the dollar amounts it brings in and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense, you know, that you're welcoming people into Ohio, you don't have anybody there. You know, I ask about putting they don't have a coffee machine out there. You know, people are always looking, you know, you just off the road, you want a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
They want a cup of coffee, you know, as I mentioned that. You know, it doesn't jive with me, something like that. You know, you're trying to promote this state of Ohio, and like I said, and the more people you got coming into your area, and like I said, you don't know who comes in your area, what they look like. Hey, we might buy a home here, we might want to open a business here or a factory here. You know, you never know when people stop by.
Don't.
And you want to welcome people, and that's what bothers me. You're coming in and you get a dark area, you come off the freeway and it's dark. You know, but you go up to Chardon, and, you know, it's lit up like a Christmas tree.
Right.
You go to Madison, it's lit up. You know,
Right.
You know, let's welcome people in the state of Ohio, and that's, you know, one good thing, you know, with the lights going on at the Love's truck stop, so that would give it a little bit more light out there and make it a little bit nicer out there. But I mean, you still need the lights coming off the freeway.
Phil, I didn't get a chance to read the entire Courier yesterday, but there was a story that I saw headlined in there that Randy Luce, our Public Works Director, was talking about some changes for the compost site.
Yes.
Are you aware of?
Yeah, we're talking about some different hours.
Different hours.
Yeah, because I think people didn't they wanted consistent hours, and they may want them to open a little bit later.
Can we afford that?
Well, we still have the same amount of hours, but just tweak them a little bit.
Mm.
And then he was talking about people about mulching and stuff like that to get the company to do that, and you know, he's going to come up with some figures for that, and maybe something like that. But you know, it's a working process. It's open. Some of the complaints were that on Monday it was open from was it 9 to 12, and then 1 to 5, and then the other day it was 1 to 5 and 9 to 2. You know, it wasn't a thing, and maybe, you know, tweak a little bit that, you know, because people maybe open up a little later because people don't get off work until a certain time. So, you know, I think we're going to tweak that a little bit and look at the
For the when it reopens.
Yeah, right.
When it
So,
reopens.
and they've done a nice job cleaning that up too. So that's yeah. And anytime you do something like that, you want to get the public input on it.
Sure.
You
Sure.
know, and you know, okay, we put it out. Is it set in stone? No. So let's get what's best possible. We're not going to put any more hours into it, but maybe put the hours at a different time.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now, I got to bring this up, Philip.
Right.
A couple weeks ago, during a council meeting that you were not at, they always do the excuse of the council.
Yes.
And it was funny afterwards. I read in one of the newspapers that council said it's the first time ever that somebody voted no on excusing an absent council member. Now, obviously, you run your own business,
Right.
very successful, Phil's Catering, and you're also a referee.
Yes.
So, at that meeting, Council President Nick Church voted no, which I was kind of shocked. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, get back to the situation was that our first interview for city manager candidate was on a Sunday of February 8th or something like that. And I had already had an event planned for that day that I had to be at, but I figured I could get out early. Okay, so looked okay. I was going to be able to sneak out. Well, the event got a little bit bigger, and I picked up 2 more catering events. And I emailed Mr. Church and said that I probably will not be able to make it. You know, you hate to miss any meetings, but you know, it just business comes where it's going to be. And my feeling is, okay, I may have missed that interview, but I have enough confidence in my fellow council people that I would be able to get filled in
Right.
on, you know, on the candidate. If we came down to voting on the candidate and they felt the first candidate was the best candidate, then I would go along with it because I'm going to go with the majority and I would
Sure.
trust their judgment. So I figured, you know, hate to miss that. Well, then on Monday I had another scheduled event that I could not make the council meeting. Once again, I called Debbie Newcomb, which we're required to do, called Debbie or Nick, and I called Debbie and said, I cannot make it. Things got caught up with work and a couple other things have come up. And, you know, sometimes you can't make every meeting. You know, I try to, but when I do miss a meeting, I either call Debbie or Doug Hedrick or the city manager and find out what happened, or there's emails that come out of what happened. So I'm informed of what's going on. It's
Right.
not that I'm, you know, due diligence, do my job to do that. You know, it's unfortunate he voted no, but that's, you know, his opinion. I have my things to do, and I am going to take, you know, my positive thing to the city of Conneaut. You know, Do I want to miss meetings? No, but am I informed? I read and I check what's going on. I check my emails, check with John Williams or whether it was Mr. Eggleston or whatever other fellow council people that I missed.
Sure,
You know, but,
sure.
You know, it is what it is, and I will continue to do my job. Like I said, I have, you know, a lot of things I have going on my plate, but I make sure that I'm informed of what I'm doing all the time with the city council meetings, what I'm doing at my business, what I'm doing at my officiating, also assign stuff. You know, sure I have a lot of things going, but I would make sure that I do the things properly and properly informed before I make a decision.
That's fair.
And I have complete trust in my fellow council people. If I do miss a meeting, or they'll inform me what's going on. And you know, it's unfortunate I missed that interview. Did I want to miss it? No, but I got enough information from my fellow council people that the gentleman was first interviewed, what's happened. I've read his resume and things like that, and you know, discuss it. And you know, I talked to Debbie about it, and Doug, and so, and whether John Roach or somebody like that. So it's
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it's unfortunate it happened, but you know, I gotta, you know, take what my road is and how I do that.
Now, how long you been doing Phil's Catering?
Since '86.
86, so you're talking, wow, 27,
Yeah, 27 years.
Wow.
Yeah, long time.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. The call coming in, Philip. Hi, you're on the air.
I was wondering, is there a deduction in the $500 pay when that person does that? Council person does that?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Well, that's not fair. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
No, I don't think there is. There was talk about that.
Yeah, right. I think, yeah.
When people weren't showing up, or especially if they know they're not coming back into office and don't show up for the last couple of meetings,
yeah.
they talked about that. I think Debbie and I were on the charter revision or whatever, and we talked about that. Hi, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Hello.
I got something for Phil.
Okay.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
You and all the other council members doing a great job, and especially you. I know you got a lot of time to do all your other stuff in the council, but you're doing a great job. And all the council members and the president of the council is the best of us ever had. And good team.
Thank you. Yes, we work well together.
Yeah. And
Okay.
keep up the good work here, Phil.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Phil, an interesting meeting today, or interview, because you covered a lot of different subjects.
Right, and that's why, and I haven't been here in a while. I had some time this week, and I wanted to get,
I was trying to get your email to tell you, hey Phil, you're due.
Yeah.
You're due to come back.
Yeah. So I wanted to, keep the people informed what's going on and doing that. Like I said, are there going to be disagreements? Yeah, but you move on and don't let it fester. You keep on doing your job. Is it what the city of Conneaut wants? Yeah.
Could you write your email address on that?
Yeah, certainly.
Because I thought it was in my computer and I could not find it, but that way, because I'd like you to come back once a month at least and keep us informed of what's happening.
Right, and I'm sure Debbie comes too. So.
Oh yeah, and she's been tied up with some meetings.
Yeah,
and stuff.
and I was kind of, December was bad for me, and I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, so but I had some time this week, but I appreciate that and keep the citizens kind of informed, and like I said that. We're all going to do our job for what's best for the city of Conneaut, and that's what we were elected for, and hopefully, we're doing the job that they want, and I like to get more businesses in here, but we got little small businesses coming in, Starlight Video, the Chinese restaurants, and
the tax service.
Tax service, and then you got Main Avenue, the Snapfish is coming on, a couple other little things going on, so a little bit at a time, and we're projecting a positive image for Conneaut, and that's what you have to do.
I think we're getting there. I think I've seen some, things happening.
Yeah.
So that's
hopefully, and behind stuff that things are going to happen, and that's all we can ask for. That we just need a break.
Yeah, that's it.